Okay, a bit of an update. As you can see, the moped's in bits at the moment. Basically, I've put about 600 miles on it since the first video. I have had some issues. The first issues were related to the top speed kept reducing, and I eventually found out that I had to change the belt. And I changed the belt and then found out that it was stuck in high gear, wasn't variating, which found out to be that the rollers were flattened off in places. So that was sorted out. Now I'm still not terribly happy with the belt. I don't think the belt's 100% compatible, and that's actually led to some incidents. An incident about 4 or 5 days ago now, where all of a sudden it started squealing and the starter motor wasn't working. And when I actually started investigating, I found out that the top layer of the belt had delaminated, and that various sections of various fibres from the belt, there's some there, but there's another video I've got that's got more information on, had got wrapped around all of the important bits. But that wasn't the reason why it's in this state. Okay, so what happened was I went to my local key cutting emporium and he tried 3 times to cut the key. And with the last blank that he had available, he got the key to work, but it was stiff in the lock. But since it was only a spare key, I let it ride. So then I rode the bike to work, and as I was riding to work, the speedometer suddenly went to 0. And then about 3 or 4 seconds later it came back again, and I thought, that's strange. And then when I stopped the bike at work, all the electrics went off, they were all dead. And what I established was that the fuse had blown. Okay, fuse to the battery. So I changed the fuse and all electrics came back and everything appeared to be working fine. Until I tried to get my keys and phone and everything out of the under seat compartment and found out that the seat release wasn't working. Now on this it's the electric seat release. And what I think's happened is, because the key was stiff, I accidentally left it in the seat unlock position, which has energized the motor and locked the motor, and it's then overheated, gone short circuit, blew the battery fuse out. But of course that then left the alternator in situ, and the alternators then went and totally fried the motor, and it's now gone open circuit. But that of course meant that I'd have to replace the motor, and to do that I'd have to remove all this body panel, and it was virtually impossible to remove the panel without opening the seat. So I was in a catch-22 situation. I eventually figured out that there was a way by lifting the seat ever so slightly and inserting something into here that I was able to operate the lock mechanism manually, but it was very fortuitous I was able to do that. Okay, so I've got the new motor and it's now time to start the rebuild of the Peugeot. So that's what the basic assembly looks like. I think this is just a standard Peugeot central locking motor, because it does go both ways, even though on this machine it only needs to push out over to release the latch, and as far as I'm aware that's a standard cable operated latch. Well, that is taking me half an hour to do, but it's back in there. Basically you have to take the tank out, you've got to take the subframe off the back with the oil tank, and then fiddle on for ages. So, does it work? Right, so I've just pushed that to lock it, so I'm now going to turn the key, and yes, I'll do that again. Cool. All this work to do that. By the way, I didn't need to take this front bit off. It was just that when it wasn't working I assumed it was, and because the key had been stiff I thought the fault must have been at this end, and it wasn't until I took it all apart and was able to find the wires that do the lock that I discovered that the switch was actually working fine, and then I had to proceed to pull the back off. That's the oil pump down there, exhaust, carburetor, that'll be the choke solenoid. spark plugs there. That's probably the next thing I'm going to have to change. Got a vacuum operated petrol tap, no reserve, but you do get a petrol gauge, which is the other thing I had to fix. Plastic cowling for the fan assisted cooling. Taking the mud flap out the back. Yeah, all good fun. Okay, so far the reassembly's just been the foot plate, which is the last thing to come out, and the underskirt here, which had to be put on to one of the bolts on the oil frame. The back of all the light sockets are all exposed, so if salty water was to get into the back of here, I don't think any of that would last very long.